Okay. All right, guys. Um, what's going on? We got some pretty big news to talk about over the last really couple days. I mean, I guess really it's this week should be known as like Kevin Feige week or something because Kevin Feige is just man, the dude is having a great week. Who is having a better week than Kevin Feige? No one. Let's talk about off the top. The first thing I want to talk about is this Spider-Man MCU announcement. Now, this doesn't really come to a surprise for really anybody, especially in the era we live in now where Twitter and fans' voices or kind of critiques or opinions have really come to matter to studios. And I for one have kind of had this impression that these two companies would come together and talk, that it was going to take maybe a little longer than we thought. And to my surprise, it actually happened a lot quicker than I had imagined or I had anticipated. And so that's actually kind of exciting. It's kind of exciting. So let's talk about the article that was posted by Variety. This is news all over the place. Spider-Man is staying and he's back in the MCU. Well, is he necessarily staying? Not really, but he is going to be in the MCU for at least one more Spider-Man film and one more Marvel Studios film, which means we will see Spider-Man in the MCU two more times, at least for now, until maybe they can come together with a new agreement, a longer deal, in order to kind of pave the way to seeing what the future holds out for Spider-Man. Now, I'm just going to read this out of Variety. So it says, after briefly breaking up, Sony Pictures and Marvel have found a way to get back in the Spider-Man business together. On Friday, the two companies jointly announced that Marvel Studios and its president, Kevin Feige, will produce the third film in the Spider-Man Homecoming series. It will once again feature Tom Holland reprising his role as the titular hero. The rumor mill roared back to life this week with hints that the two companies were close to brokering a new agreement. Okay. Over the summer, news broke that the Disney Marvel parent company and Sony had reached an impasse over a new financing deal. Disney wanted the film to be financed on a 50-50 basis, with Feige remaining in a consulting producer capacity. Sony is believed to have proposed keeping the arrangement under the current terms, which stipulate that Marvel receives about 5% of first dollar gross in all merchandising revenues. The new deal was signed late on Thursday night. Negotiations involved top players from both studios, including Sony Pictures chief Tom Rothman, Feige, and Walt Disney Studios co-chairs Alan Horn and Alan Bergman. In exchange for lending Feige's producing prowess, Marvel and Disney will receive roughly 25% of the profits, according to insiders. Disney will retain its merchandising rights and will put up roughly a quarter of the financing. As part of the arrangement, Spider-Man will also appear in one future Marvel Studios film. And here's another thing. We have a release date. The film is scheduled for release on July 16th, 2021. Amy Pascal will also produce through Pascal Pictures, as she has on the first two Holland-led films. So what does this all mean? This means Spider-Man is coming back into the MCU, which is what we want. What does the deal necessarily mean? Well, it's not the 50-50 split Disney wanted, which, number one, I said before in one of my past streams, I did say this. I said no company in their right mind would ever accept that deal, because that would mean Marvel would get 50% of the ownership of the Sony Spider-Man films, and that's not going to happen. Spider-Man is Sony's biggest franchise. It's their biggest moneymaker. There's no way in hell that they would ever let Disney get 50% of the profits, which would also mean that they put in 50% of the financing, which means that they own half of Spider-Man. That's not going to happen. This is good for all parties involved, this new deal. This means we get Spider-Man. As fans, we're happy. Spider-Man is coming back into the MCU. He's under that MCU umbrella. We also get him in another Marvel Studios film, which is going to be great. We don't know what that could be. That could be New Avengers. That could be Black Panther 2. That could be Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. We don't know what that other film is going to be at this point in time. I have a feeling that it's going to most likely be something small and not something large. That's just my feeling on it. So we get another Spider-Man film in this trilogy, this franchise of MCU Spider-Man films. But not only that, Disney also wins because they wanted a little bit more. Before, they were only getting about 5%. Now they're going to get 25% of the actual profits, and they're also putting in 25% of the financing, which means they own a quarter of the Spider-Man franchise, which honestly is not bad because Sony is still the majority owner and Sony can still make the big decisions, but it's still good because Kevin Feige can also help Sony in maintaining this established Spider-Man universe that we already have, as well as kind of putting Spider-Man under the umbrella. This is a great deal for all parties involved. Obviously, Sony and Disney wanted this deal to happen. Sony wanted the deal to happen. And for a long time, I criticized Disney about how they really butchered this deal. I think that they listened to the fans. I think they went on social media. They saw how much people were pissed off about this deal not going through. And I think that they came together. They realized, you know what? We got to just make some type of agreement, make sure that we can get on the same page and find a way to keep Spider-Man in the MCU, at least for the short term. Now, does this mean Spider-Man is going to be forever in the MCU? No, it doesn't. I do think that this short-term deal could help them continue to build on their relationship as companies. And not only that, but it could also kind of just be like a bridge that they gapped so that way they could maybe work out a longer-term deal. But even if they don't, guys, even if they don't and say this is the last deal that they're ever making, we're getting 7 films with Spider-Man. 7. That's more than we've ever had in any of the other concurrent Spider-Man franchises with Tobey Maguire or Andrew Garfield. And I, for one, I'm really excited about this. I think it's a win-win for both teams. I think it's a win for us as fans. And honestly, I would be okay if this is the last Spider-Man MCU film. And maybe it could be like a nice way to kind of conclude him out of the MCU world and kind of put him in his own world. And that could be something that they talk about really, and how they're going to keep Spider-Man in the MCU, but also kind of help him shepherd him out of the MCU in the future, because we know that that's most likely something that could happen within the next 4 or 5 years. And we're also getting a new Spider-Man film in 2021. That is incredible to me. Less than 2 years, Spider-Man will be back on the big screen. I am so excited. And honestly, again, a win-win for all parties involved, even us as fans. And I think for the people who understood what Disney wanted and how greedy they were getting, I think Disney noticed that. I think they noticed that, look, we have a lot of fans that are going to take our corner no matter what. That even if we go and screw every company over, our fans are going to be like, no, it's not Disney's fault. It's that other company's fault. And I saw that a lot on Twitter. People were blasting Sony, saying how crappy Sony is, how much they screwed this deal, how much they hate Sony, and the fact that Sony is greedy. First off, let me just say this, okay? Let me get this off my chest, and I've said this in my other video. Spider-Man is not the MCU's property. It is not Disney's property. If this is news to you and you're watching this, I'm sorry to tell you, it is not a Disney property. Years ago, when Marvel Comics was going under, they were going bankrupt. They sold a bunch of the television and movie rights of their characters. Spider-Man went to Sony. The Incredible Hulk went to Universal. X-Men and Fantastic Four went to Fox. This is not something that they're just going to be like, oh, well, you know what? Disney bought Marvel, so now they own Spider-Man again. They own Spider-Man in the comics, but they do not own him in terms of entertainment, which is, well, I guess, visual entertainment and movies and television. Okay, that is not the case. Sony would not sell off to Disney. even if Disney really tried. And they shouldn't. I like my comic book movies to be separated from one another. I like that. I've heard a lot of people. It's funny. I've heard a lot of people say, "Well, Disney should buy the DC because Warner Brothers doesn't know what they're doing." I would hate that. I would hate that. I like having different comic book films, and honestly, this move that was made years ago is great. It was great for Marvel. It's great for Sony. And so it's not a Disney property. They can't just take Spider-Man back. That's just not the case. Sony wanted a deal to happen because Sony has a lot of other stuff. They just announced that they're going to do a Madam Web Web film, which could be really cool. That could have some Matrix type of stuff within the film. They're going to do, Venom 2. They have Morbius. They've already talked about Kraven the Hunter. So there's a lot of stuff Sony wants to do outside of Spider-Man, but they really like that relationship with Spider-Man in the MCU because they're getting a lot of really good critical response to those films. And it's a win-win. Sony can make a lot of money. Disney can make a lot of money. And honestly, Sony is making good quality films that people will go back and see. So I'm really happy about that news. I don't know. Let me know down below in the comment section what you guys think about Spider-Man back in the MCU. I'm sure everyone's pretty excited. I know I am. And we get at least two more films with Spider-Man in them, and one more standalone film, and then another Marvel Studios film. We don't know what film that's going to be. We probably won't know for a while, but we'll see what happens. And I'm really curious to see how they shepherd out Spider-Man in the MCU. I think it's really nice that we're going to get one more story within the MCU, and then possibly, if they don't come to terms on a longer contract or a longer deal, how are they going to move forward with Spider-Man outside of the MCU? What's up, Dick Thanos? How's it going? What do you think about Spider-Man coming back into the MCU, man? Let me know. So yeah, Spider-Man back in the MCU, great thing for all sides involved. And honestly, I'm just looking forward to seeing Spider-Man back on the screen. And I love Sony Pictures. I love what they've done with Spider-Man. In my opinion, the two best Spider-Man films are Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and those were not Marvel films. Anyway, so yeah. Anyway, let me know down below your thoughts on this this move. I think it's a great move again, and yeah. Let me know down below because I'm really interested and curious to see what you guys think. And if you think that this is, a win-win for both sides, or were you kind of looking forward to Spider-Man outside of the MCU, maybe in the Spider-Verse that has been created? So yeah. Anyway, let's move on to the next topic I wanted to talk about. This was something that I wanted to talk about, I guess, yesterday. The news dropped a couple days ago. So the news dropped a couple days ago that Kevin Feige, the emperor himself, Kevin Feige, is going to produce a Star Wars film. You guys know me. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. It is my franchise. It is something that I've loved my entire life. So anyway, sorry, hold on a second. Okay. Anyway, sorry about that, guys. Anyway, so what was I talking about? Oh, okay. So Kevin Feige is coming. He came over. I guess he pitched an idea to Kathleen Kennedy, and Kathleen Kennedy, she is the person who oversees Star Wars. And honestly, I love Kathleen Kennedy. I think she's a phenomenal producer. I think she's been on a lot of great projects, but I haven't necessarily loved her producing the Star Wars films of late. Rogue One I thought was incredible. To me, it's still the best film that has been introduced, the best Star Wars film out of this new iteration of Star Wars movies. I thought The Force Awakens was okay. I like The Force Awakens. There's too much fan service. The Last Jedi is a great film. Oh my gosh. Hold on. Give me a second. I need to close my window because there's a train passing by. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. I'm like, okay. Anyway, so Kevin Feige came over to Kathleen Kennedy, apparently pitched this idea of a Star Wars film that he had kind of thought of, and this idea that they could do for a movie. And Kathleen Kennedy, of course, said, let's do this. We're working together on this film. Now, this is a great thing. Number one, because Kathleen Kennedy is willing to work with Kevin Feige, and she knows how good of a producer Kevin Feige is. That's a great thing. Number two, this is also a great idea because Kevin Feige, he is so passionate about Star Wars. He has said for years, look, I love the MCU. I've been an MCU fan my entire life, but my heart belongs to Star Wars. And I think it's amazing that they're coming together and they're going to make a Star Wars film. And it also shows that Disney and everyone trust Kevin Feige where they will never tell him no. They will never say no to Kevin Feige, which it's Kevin Feige. You don't say no to Kevin Feige. I mean, he's done such a phenomenal job in cultivating the MCU, 23 films that have almost averaged $1 billion each. I mean, that is incredible stuff. The dude he will go down as the greatest producer in Hollywood history. I do believe that he will move out of the MCU sooner rather than later. And I think that there's a lot of good things that Kevin Feige can do. And I think he wants to kind of flex his muscles, do it, producing other content and other material. I think that Disney might be kind of cultivating him to maybe take over Alan Horn's job within the next few years. So I think this is a win-win. I absolutely love this idea of Kevin Feige producing a Star Wars film because he's passionate about it. He's a fan of Star Wars. And not only that, but he's shown that he is such a consistent producer. He is such a consistent filmmaker, and it's going to be amazing to see him and Kathleen Kennedy working together, two of the best producers in history working on a Star Wars film. Now, it could be one, it could be two, it could be three films. We have no idea. We don't even know what the films are going to be about. But honestly, I am really excited for what this film could possibly do for the Star Wars franchise, because it needs a little bit of a rejuvenation. I feel like not enough people really are talking about Star Wars, and I understand The Last Jedi caused a lot of controversy and a lot of problems. But honestly, like this is something that I think could rejuvenize the franchise a lot, because this is something that the franchise needs. It needs a new kind of direction, a new voice, a new person maybe overseeing certain aspects of the film, of the franchise. And I think Kevin Feige is the perfect person for this. When I read this, I had no idea. Like, it was almost like receiving a gift on Christmas, I was just on Twitter scrolling through and I saw it and I was like, no freaking way. And then I checked my source and everywhere it was just blasting Kevin Feige working on a Star Wars film with Kathleen Kennedy. And I couldn't be any more excited. I am such a huge Star Wars fan, and it's going to rejuvenate my hopes and my love for the franchise. And I think Episode 9, I'm really excited. It's my number one anticipated film of the year. I will always be excited for Star Wars content. Solo left a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth, but I'm really looking forward to Episode 9. I think I just can't wait to see what they do. And The Mandalorian looks incredible. So So yeah, I'm really looking forward to what they're going to do next within the Star Wars franchise, especially with Kevin Feige overseeing a project. That's going to be awesome. And Father Thanos, you can leave now, troll. You are a coward behind a computer screen, so you can leave. Yeah, you're getting silenced. There you go. Obviously, there's some trolls that are coming into the chat board, so I am sorry about that, guys. I usually live stream at later times, but I decided to do something early today because I do have plans later on tonight. I don't like trolls, and so if you're going to come in here and you're going to be a troll, you're going to be silenced because you're just annoying and you're a creep behind a computer desk or a computer screen. That's all I got to say. And it's probably I know it's the exact same person as the other one. So have fun with your life. If that's what you want to do for your life, come on other people's streams and just say derogatory and hateful and mean things to people in general. Like, you can leave. That is not why I have this channel. I don't go to your channel and say all these things. I'm not a troll. If you have nothing better to do with your life, I feel very sorry for you. I do. I feel really sorry for you. You're a pathetic human being. And honestly, I don't need your view time. Actually, you know what? Your view. So thank you for your view. I appreciate it. And you can leave and don't come back. You're not going to even get the time of day with me. I'm not going to read any of your comments. So that's all I'm going to do is silence you, because that's what you deserve to get, is to be silenced. I'm sorry, guys. I'm frustrated that people would come on and they'd do that. How's it going, Bricklord49? How are you? Sorry that I'm kind of going off about trolls right now, but I came to say hi. I really appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. Hi to you too. What do you think about the news about Spider-Man coming back into the MCU? At least for a short time. I talked about it. It's going to be one Spider-Man film. Right now, the current deal is one Spider-Man film, and one Marvel Studios film. Oh, that's great. Cool. Yeah. Okay. So obviously there's a lot of trolls at this time, I guess. I don't know. It's unfortunate that this is the society we live in. It really is. I don't really know what else to say. It's something where it's like, it bothers me to the point of like, making content, number one, is something that I find, to be creative, and I'm putting my personal opinions out there to everyone, and I try to make it so that way you guys are engaged. I try to do it so that way we all have a good time. And when you get people that just come on here and they say these things that are just stupid, it's stupid. To me, I don't get it. I really don't get it, because it's like, respect the creator, respect the channels that you go to and visit. And if you can't do that, then why should I give you the time of day? Why should I even allow you to be on my stream? Why should I even allow you to say things on my chat, to be honest? Because my biggest problem is the fact that we live in this society where trolling is something that is like, it's something that is, I don't know, it's weird. Like, this is something that was like funny. It's never been funny, but it's something that was relevant like 10 years ago. Now it's just like, you're doing it and it's like, okay, you're going to be silenced. I mean, what's the point? What is the point? I don't understand what the person or people are trying to accomplish by trolling. It just doesn't make sense to me, to be honest. I don't go on your channel. I don't troll you. I ask for a little bit of respect. That's all I ask. You can disagree with me about my opinions. That is totally fine. I like that you disagree with me, but what I don't like is people coming on the chat and saying these things that are just plain right stupid. They're stupid. I'm not a big YouTuber, and usually I find more trolls on people who are bigger, but it's dumb to me. I don't have anybody who can go through and moderate, what's happening. I do it myself, and a lot of the time I'm just kind of talking and voicing my opinion out there. But it's unfortunate when I try to make a video about Spider-Man back in the MCU and Kevin Feige, producing a Star Wars film, and I get just idiots in the chat board, just saying really stupid things, trying to be funny, I don't know what they're trying to accomplish, but it's not going to work. I don't understand it. I think Tom Holland is the best Spider-Man, and I hope he is in more movies so we can see him with other big superheroes like Thor, Doctor Strange, etc. Yeah, I like seeing Spider-Man in the MCU. I think it's a great move by these two companies to get together and say, you know what, with all of the stuff that we've heard, all the things that have happened the past month that has not looked very good on Disney or on Sony, really, it's great that they were able to come together and they were able to say, hey, look, we're going to make an agreement, and it's just a short-term agreement. It's nothing too big. It's not like, we're going to do 3 more movies with Spider-Man, like 3 Spider-Man films, and then we're going to do like 4 more when he's in the MCU. They're only going to do 1 Spider-Man film, 1 in the MCU, with an MCU Studios film. So I'm really looking forward to what they're going to do. So we'll see what happens. Hey, bro, love your reviews. Thank you so much, RD. I really appreciate you coming on here, man. It means a lot. And again, guys, I want to know your guys' thoughts on this whole Spider-Man back in the MCU situation. Were you surprised that they came back together? Were you not surprised? To me, honestly, I wasn't surprised. I knew that they were going to come back together. I just didn't think it was going to be this soon. I was thinking maybe next year, kind of let everything die down a little bit. And Tom Holland, man, I am so happy that Tom Holland is going to stay within the MCU. I know he's a guy who is very respected because he's such a nice human being, and he was just going through the ringer with all this stuff. And so yeah, it's a win-win for everyone involved. Like I said, I'm really looking forward to seeing what they're going to do to shepherd Spider-Man out of the MCU, but also how they're going to, what Marvel Studios film is he going to be in? I think it's going to be something small. I think it's going to be something that is maybe like a 15, 20-minute spot, but we'll see. I mean, are they going to make a new Avengers? I have no idea. All we know is what Kevin Feige has announced, which is a lot of stuff. And the fact that they're coming together on another Spider-Man film, I mean, that's pretty incredible to me. So I'm really looking forward to what they could do. I'm not surprised Disney and Sony splitting up was a bad choice. Yeah, it was a bad look on Disney. Even Sony, the thing is Sony looked dumb because it's like, I think Sony wanted the original deal and how it was structured, where it's like 5% of the box office take is for Disney. But the fact that they're co-financing the film, and the fact that they were able to say, look, 50-50, that's never going to happen. We're not going to give you 50% ownership rights over Spider-Man. We're not going to give you 50% financing stake. That's not going to happen. That's something that we won't do. But the fact that they were both able to come together, maturely and naturally say, look, what about 25%? I think that's a big win for both teams involved. And honestly, I think Kevin Feige's having a great week, man. Producing a Star Wars film, which is his first passion. He loves Star Wars. And then not only that, but, being able to produce another Spider-Man film and have Spider-Man at least in the MCU Marvel Studios umbrella for a couple more films. I think that's a fantastic, fantastic win. And as fans, we win too, because we get to see Spider-Man in the MCU, which is something that, is so much fun. I've really enjoyed watching what they've been able to do with the Peter Parker Spider-Man character within the MCU, playing in that world. It's a lot of fun. Hi, what's the psychology of Spider-Man? What do you mean? I don't know what the question means, Perez. Elaborate a little bit. Psychology of Spider-Man. Yeah, I don't know what you mean, man. Could you elaborate on that question a little bit? That'd be great. Like, do you mean the psychology of who Peter Parker is, or my psychology? Like, I don't know what you're saying. But yeah, Kevin Feige's having himself a week, man. He's having himself a week. I think with Kevin Feige also moving over to doing a Star Wars film, producing a Star Wars film along with Kathleen Kennedy, I think that's kind of shepherding him in to getting outside of the MCU, because a lot of people, we would love to say Kevin Feige is going to be in the MCU forever. That's just not the case. The dude has 23 films under his belt with the MCU. I would say he's very consistent. I've loved mostly every MCU film. There's not one bad MCU film in my opinion, or a bad film out of the MCU. There are bad MCU films, but not bad film in general. But Kevin Feige, he's really done so well. He's been consistent year in, year out, gives us the best content. You could tell he's a fan. And honestly, the fact that he's coming over to Star Wars, which is my favorite franchise, which I'm like the biggest fan in the world, I am really excited because he's a huge fan. And I'm going to feel that passion watching a Star Wars film, saying this is produced by two of the biggest giants in the film industry today. That is amazing. That is absolutely amazing. I cannot wait to see what Kathleen Kennedy and what Kevin Feige can do together. I think Kathleen Kennedy is a good producer. She doesn't have a great relationship with her directors, and I think with Kevin Feige coming over and producing this, new Star Wars film, maybe it's one, maybe it's two, maybe it's a new trilogy, I don't know. I think Feige will have a really great relationship with the director or directors that work on these projects. And I think it could really rejuvenate the Star Wars franchise. And like I said, Rogue One to me is the best film that Disney has distributed under the Star Wars banner since they acquired Lucasfilm. I think that has been their best film. To me, it felt like a Star Wars movie. It gave me new things, but it just felt like a world that I've been to, and it felt so refreshing to see something that feels like Star Wars. Force Awakens, I felt like was just too much of, let's play the nostalgia card. Let's play the fan service card where people are just going to absolutely love everything we throw out. I do really like The Force Awakens. I think it's a really good film. It was a nice film to kind of reintroduce the Star Wars brand to not only Star Wars fans, but to new people that are getting on board with Star Wars. And then we had Solo, which I thought was a big letdown. I like the film, I guess, more and more each time I watch it, but I don't love the film, to be honest. And then we had, Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi, which I thought, there is a lot of things I don't like about the film. To me, the good outweighs the bad. I don't think the film is perfect. I do like that the film goes for a different type of route where it's not something that we see coming. Whether it be Snoke is not the character that everyone thought he was going to be, or didn't play the part in the Star Wars franchise like we thought he would. I love that they killed him. I loved it because it drove more home to the point that this franchise, the big bad is Kylo Ren. There is nobody badder than him. There is nobody worser. There is nobody who's a bigger threat. Kylo Ren is the big bad, and I love Kylo Ren. He's my favorite character in this new trilogy of Star Wars films. I love Adam Driver. I love what they've done with Kylo. I love that they're showing how unhinged he is and how raw and real he would be as a villain. He feels like someone that if they were having problems controlling their anger, this is exactly how they'd act out. And I thought also The Last Jedi did a really good job of executing kind of where this franchise could go in the future. However, there are a lot of problems with the movie. I'm not going to be blind and say that there aren't. But Perez, sorry. I mean, what does Spider-Man the story try to learn people? You mean try to tell people? I mean, I don't know, man. It's a superhero. It's a superhero story about an average kid, a nerdy teenage kid who gets bit by a radioactive spider, and he has to go through, the hardships of high school, relationships, hormones. I'd even say, I mean, I guess the younger Spider-Man in the comic books, like he's still kind of growing up, when it comes to like a pubescent type of level. It's really saying that, it's a story that basically says that like anybody, whatever your situation is, whatever the type of person you are, you can become something better. And, it also shows you how to balance your life with all the stuff on your plate. So nerds can be heroes too, I guess. I mean, there's a lot of instances though. The Flash is pretty nerdy. There's a lot of superheroes that have been quote unquote nerds. Bruce Banner is a nerd. He's not a kid or anything, but he is a nerd. So there are. It's a story that you've never seen Spider-Man. I'm guessing you've never seen Spider-Man. It's just a story about, this kid becoming a superhero and, trying to balance his life, and trying to take on the responsibilities of being a superhero in New York City, but also trying to be himself and trying to figure out how to navigate through the world of being a superhero and a kid. Do you think Spider-Man is the best superhero? Good question. He's one of my favorites. He's not my favorite. He's in my top 3. I have a trio of the best superheroes, in my opinion. My trio, number 1 to this day and every day, is Superman. He is the ultimate superhero. I know he's an alien. He can do, my wife, it's funny. My wife, she always gets mad at me because I love Superman. She's like, well, he's so boring. He's so strong. He can pretty much do nothing wrong. And I'm like, so he's a superhero. I love Superman. He is my number 1. He always will be, always has been. Number 2 is Spider-Man. I guess he'd probably be my number 2, but I think number 2 and number 3 for me are like tied, so I wouldn't even say that I like him over my number 3, but my number 3 is Captain America. I love Captain America. You got to love Captain America. Yeah, he's amazing. There's a lot of superheroes that I do love, even if they're not my top 3. I love Batman. I love the Flash. I love Wonder Woman. I love Thor. I love Iron Man. So there's a lot of characters that I really love. That's amazing, man. Yeah, thanks, man. And that's the thing, is that's what's awesome about the superhero genre, is that you can like whatever superhero you want. And it's such a really refreshing thing, because superheroes are, they're kind of like us, and they represent what the kind of what society goes through a lot. And I'm really, I don't know, I love superheroes in general. I love the superhero genre. It's not my favorite genre of film, but I really do love everything that I've watched. I love a lot of, obviously I love the MCU, but I don't have a favorite as per, do you like the MCU or DCEU, or DCU, I guess they call it now, more. I don't have a favorite. I love both of them for their differences and both of them for their similarities. Has there ever been a superhero that's a psychologist? I think so. Oh man, I'd have to look that up. Off the top of my head, I can't think of one. If you guys in the chat know, like, let him know. Psychologist superhero. Let me look that up real quick for you. Maybe superherohype.com has the answer. Maybe. Oh, okay. Okay, there is one that I do know. I can't believe I didn't know this before or didn't think about this. Professor X of the X-Men. He was a psychologist. He studied the human mind. So that's one that I could tell you off the top of my head. I don't know of really any others, but Professor X isn't the one that everyone thinks of because they don't see him as like a superhero per se, but he is. He's a mutant and he's a hero. Are you a psychologist, Perez? If so, that's awesome. But yeah, other than that, Google also told me that a psychologist created Wonder Woman. Okay, so yeah, a person who was a psychologist created the character of Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman is not a psychologist, though. She is. She's an Amazonian. She's a princess, Princess Diana. So, that's her job title, I guess. I don't know. I know that like a lot of the big superheroes, SpiderMan photographer, even though he's a high school student. Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr. Tony Stark is a billionaire business philanthropist. We got, I'm trying to think, Thor. Well, Thor's a god. He's a king too, so that's his occupation. So off the top of my head, I can't think of any psychologists out of like the major superhero characters that we know and love today. I couldn't tell you one that is a psychologist other than Professor X. But yeah, really interesting question, Perez. Thank you for asking that. That's pretty awesome that you asked something that is kind of outside of the realm of what I'm used to. So thank you for that. Anyway, guys, this stream has been interesting. It's really been very interesting. A lot of trolls. I guess this is a mental note. 1 o'clock is usually not a good time to do a stream because you get a lot of trolls, which is unfortunate. But what would be sorry, guys. What would be your perfect superhero if you could create one? Ooh, that's a good question. Perfect superhero if I could create one. It's hard to say. The reason why it's hard to say is it feels like everything has already been thought of when it comes to superheroes. But if I had to choose one, it'd be a pizza delivery boy who has the ability to I don't know. You're stumping me. This is a really, really good question, Perez. I have no idea. Like I'm trying to think of like ideas I've had in the past, but those have been years ago. I guess one, and I think that this might already be a character that exists, but Animal Man, a dude who can shapeshift into different animals. I think that would be pretty awesome, to be honest. But I think that's already something that does exist. Someone who has the ability to stop time, not run super fast to stop time, but just stop time in general. And they can manipulate time. I guess Doctor Strange can do that. See, it's really, really hard to come up with like an original concept or like an original idea or like the perfect superhero. I guess for me, the perfect superhero is someone who, like you said, deliver pizza on time. Someone who can deliver food on time. And every time I ask for food, they give it to me, or they can just like make it or something like really quickly, or like snap their fingers and boom, there's a plate of food. That would be amazing. That would be my perfect superhero, but that's just me. Great question though, man. Yeah, that's a doozy. That really stumps me. Because I don't really know what to say. But yeah, a lot of content is going to be on the channel. In October. October is going to be crazy busy. I actually plan on doing a video, probably another live stream tomorrow at a different time, probably later on, maybe in the night or so, because I want to talk about my schedule for October because I'm going to be doing content pretty much every day in October because I love horror films and horror has been a staple of my life. So that is going to be out tomorrow. It's going to be a live stream. Come and join me. We can have fun. We can talk about a lot of different things. and I have a live commentary that I'm going to be doing on October 1st that I'm really excited about. It is I've never done a commentary, and I really want to do it on this film because it's a film that has impacted my life. And more details on that tomorrow. There's also going to be Star Wars reviews coming up. One of them will be up tonight. I promise you that. It will be it'll be Clayton's solo review. And then Rogue One will most likely be out. My Rogue One review will probably be out like Monday or Tuesday of next week. I haven't specified a date yet. And then going off of that, I also have my September Blu-ray haul video, which I'm looking at all my Blu-rays right now. I'm probably going to record that after this. So that probably won't be up until the 30th. So September 30th, which is 28, 29, Monday. That'll be up on Monday. So that'll be a relaxed video. I'm not really planning on going into too much detail. So Monday, there's going to be a couple videos. And I'm still going to do new releases in October, but I'm going to be focusing a lot of my attention on horror films. And I have decided that I will be reviewing the entire Nightmare on Elm Street franchise this year. I had comments suggesting that I should do that. People have reached out to me, so I will be doing the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, and I'm really looking forward to it. I'll be doing reviews of every single Nightmare on Elm Street film, as well as Freddy vs. Jason, and I will be doing a ranking of those films. So I'm really excited. I'm really looking forward to next month. Joker comes out in a week. I cannot freaking wait. So a lot of great things coming up on this channel. Ooh. And I also decided I did tell you guys I was going to do a Rambo ranking, and I decided not to do one. I don't really like the franchise that much. I don't really care about it. The only movie that's really good, in my opinion, is the first Rambo, which is First Blood. So that's a franchise that I'm not going to do a ranking on. I just don't really see the merit in doing it, and I'm not passionate about the franchise, so it's not something that I really want to explore or want to do. So that's my take on it. Okay, maybe this is easier. If you and your girlfriend was a superhero duo, what would be your collective super ability? Oh, man. Collective super ability. Honestly, oh, here we go. I got a good one. Reading each other's minds. Let me tell you, living with a woman for the past two plus years, it's fun. It's great. It's a great time. But one thing that we both struggle with, and everyone who has a significant other knows this, you can't read each other's minds. So, like, she'll get mad at me sometimes for things that I literally have no idea why she's mad at me. Like, I'll say something, which in my context is like, I'm not being mean about it. I'm just kind of being blunt and like open. It's not something that I find that is mean. I'll say something and it gets under her skin and she gets pissed. And then, she'll get mad at me because she can't read my mind. She doesn't understand what's going on in my head when I'm not sympathetic towards, her quote unquote issues with what I said. So reading each other's mind would be the collective superpower, because that would save so much arguing. It would save so much time that we're mad at each other, to the point where we would be happy and we would know what the other one is thinking. To be honest, that's what I would want. Wow, great answer. Thanks, man. What do you think she would say? I don't know. I think she'd be happier because I would know what to say. I think then she would also probably get mad because, I don't know, something else would come up. There would be some other type of thing, and then it would just be, another issue. I don't know. I feel like even if I could read her mind, I still wouldn't be able to interpret. The thing that I've learned from an early age is that guys, men, we think in boxes. We compartmentalize a lot of stuff. For example, I could think about something that happened to me like yesterday. Say someone like hit me or something, or like they punch me, and I get pretty pissed off about it. But I'll put that in a box over here, and I won't think about it again until somebody brings it up, or someone will I see that person again. Whereas women, they think in wires. Everything is kind of connected. So like if you say one thing, they will think something else. Like it will bring them back to like a chain of like 4 or 5 other things that had nothing to do with you and that they get pissed off at you for because you should have known better. And so it's like, it's interesting. We both think in different ways, and it's hard to map that out sometimes because at the end of the day, I don't really know what I say half the time. I mean, how would she answer the question? Oh, how would she answer the question? For me, it might be like, I guess for her, she'd probably want to like slow down time. I think because she moves really quickly. She's just always on the go. And I think if she was able to slow down time, she wouldn't be so stressed, or she wouldn't feel like the world is on her shoulders and she has so much that she has to take on. And that would be really nice for her. And it'd also be really nice for me to know that her stress is kind of relieved in that way. So that would probably be her answer if I had to be honest with you. It'd probably be like slow down time. And also to spend more time with me because she loves spending time with me, which I don't understand why. I'm not that cool of a person. I just like movies and stuff, so kind of boring. Yeah, that's honestly the best way I could answer it. It's hard. She's not here right now. She's actually working, and then she has class in like an hour. So once she gets home from work, she literally goes right to class. And yeah, that's my guess though. That would be my answer for her if I was to give an answer for her. I'm not necessarily sure if she was here that she would say that, but that would be my best assumption of something that she would say. But yeah. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna end the stream. Gonna go record a video or two, and then also I have some other stuff I gotta go get done. But anyway, guys, again, let me know down below in the comments section of this video, what do you think about all this news that dropped? What do you think about Kevin Feige producing a Star Wars film? Me, I'm so excited. I'm so happy. Bring it on. Let's get 2 of the biggest producers and best producers in the entertainment industry on board together, working together, and producing a Star Wars film. It's going to be incredible. I cannot wait. Can't wait to see who's directing. And then, what do you think about Spider-Man coming back to the MCU? Are you surprised? Are you not surprised? And also, how do you think this is going to shepherd out Spider-Man in the franchise? I'm really curious to know your guys' thoughts down below. Yeah, so together you would slow time and read each other's minds. That's romantic. Thanks so much, man. Really, honestly, it is. But anyway, guys, leave a like on the video if you have not. Make sure you subscribe to this channel right now if you are watching. If you're watching live or if you're watching later on, subscribe to this channel because there's a lot of content on here, and I'll be making a lot more content very soon. October is going to be a very busy month, so come along with me on the journey, guys. It's a lot of fun in this community. We get some trolls, but it is what it is. Honestly, you got to take what you can give. Anyway, I love you guys, and I'll see you in my next video. Goodbye.